rules lawyer, power gamer, method actor, casual. Have you ever had these terms or others aimed at you as a player? Do these broad generalizations have any validity? Are these types of characterizations helpful, harmful, or useful? Do you feel you defy categorization, or do you definitely identify with a specific player type? What can these archetypes tell us about our enjoyment of the games that we play? Ever wondered where these terms came from originally, or what theories of motivations there are for why we play tabletop RPGs? Find out in today's episode. Hello and welcome to RPG PhD. I'm Dr. Ben, and today we'll be discussing player archetypes. First of all, why does this matter? Well, knowing what motivates you and your companions at the game table can create a more productive, inclusive, and positive game experience, both by removing judgment and enhancing your understanding of what other people enjoy. One really interesting thing that came out of researching this episode is that these taxonomies, these systems of classifications, have existed almost from the very beginning of the hobby, and their origins are likely linked to our motivations for playing tabletop RPGs. There's been some great research already on this topic, so be sure to check out all the source links below that I used to put this video together. Going all the way back to October 1980, Glenn Blako first described 4 parts of tabletop RPGs in his article, Aspects of Adventure Gaming for Different Worlds No. 10 magazine. His 4 aspects were power gaming, the main drive of the players is power, role-playing, investing emotionally in their character and their in-game lives, wargaming, focus on tactical abilities and game mechanics, and storytelling, the world, NPCs, and the PC's effect on the world, creating a living, breathing, vibrant, persistent universe. But remember, this article was only describing elements that you would find in a typical RPG. We hadn't yet moved to examining these aspects as player motivations. In sociologist Gary Allen Fine's book Shared Fantasy, Role-Playing Games as Social Worlds from 1983, Fine used an ethnographic technique to study players and their justifications for why they enjoyed tabletop RPGs, primarily Dungeons & Dragons. According to his research conducted in the late 70s and early 80s, Fine classified their responses into 4 categories: education, to learn new things; escape, to be free from real-life constraints and engage in fantasy; efficacy, to exert control and mastery; and sociability, companionship. You can already see how Fine's 4 motivations align with Blako's aspects. For example, escape and efficacy could easily relate to storytelling and power gaming respectively. I'm sure you can see how other connections could also be made here as well. I want us to think about the potential connections between what motivates us as players and how those motivations are expressed in play. Next, we have the infamous Munchkin file, a document that was passed around at conventions and online for 40 years, apparently originating in 1983. It also described 4 types of players. Real men, yikes, hello 1983. The tough macho type who walks up to the dragon and orders it to leave before someone gets hurt. Real role players, the intelligent cunning guy who tricks the constable into letting you out of prison. Loonies, yikes again 1983, the person who will do anything for a laugh, including casting a fireball at point blank range. And munchkins, who are into RPGs to win, even if the game isn't supposed to work that way. The word munchkin entered the English lexicon because of the popularity of the Wizard of Oz film from 1939, and generally means someone of small stature. But in the gaming community, it has come to be a pejorative term that is usually synonymous with power gamers or min-maxers. So very early on, different elements and motivations for RPGs were already being examined. In November 1984, Greg Kostian followed up from the original article in Different Worlds No. 10 and settled on 4 basic types of RPG players, which correspond to the original article types: role-playing, storytelling, power gaming, and wargaming. So now instead of game aspects being described, we now see archetypes describing players. You can also see how Fine's 4 motivations might connect to those original player types. In 1996, Richard Bartle wrote an article entitled Hearts, Clubs, Diamonds, Spades, Players Who Suit Muds. Muds Multi-User Dungeon is a multiplayer real-time virtual world, usually text-based or storyboarded, and were incredibly popular at the time and are the precursors to modern MMOs. Even though this article was aimed at PC gaming, the types he describes are useful for understanding tabletop RPGs. His categories were diamonds or achievers, spades or explorers, hearts or socializers, and clubs or killers. Again, notice how these align with Fine's motivations. Game designer Aaron Alston created a list of player types for Champions, the superhero RPG in 1998. His breakdown included 13 player types. I won't go into specifics with all of these, as you can check out the link below for more information, but he had the builder, the buddy, the combat monster, the copier, the genre fiend, the mad slasher, the mad thinker, the plumber, the pro from Dover, the romantic, the rules exploiter, the show-off, and the tragedian. What is interesting here is that I imagine because the types are parsed into so many categories that most players would see multiple types that fit your playstyle. These might be interesting to think about like a multi-class in D&D. I'm a buddy, mad thinker, show-off exploiter, for example. Robin Law's 2001 book, Robin's Laws of Good Game Mastering, divides the player types into 6 different categories. The power gamer, the butt kicker, the tactician, the specialist, the method actor, the storyteller, and the casual gamer. The Dungeon Master's Guide 2 supplement for Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, also written by Robin Laws, identifies the player types as dramatist, super cool, master planner, and oddball. The Dungeon Master's Guide for 4th edition identifies 8 player types: the actor, the explorer, the instigator, the power gamer, the slayer, the thinker, and the watcher. And in D&D 5e, the DMG gives us all the same types as 4th edition, except it drops the watcher and thinker. Pathfinder's 2010 Game Mastery Guide gives us a list of problem player types instead of player motivations. The player problems are antagonist, continuity expert, diva, entrepreneur, flake, glassjaw, loner, lump, multitask master, power gamer, rules lawyer, tagalong, and thespian. So over the years you can see that we have had a plethora of classifications, with many others which aren't listed here, and many more created on blogs, forums, and all over the online gaming community space. So you might find some of these more useful than others, or you may feel that some categories are too broad or too narrow. We have, of course, examined Fine's research on motivations, but what else has come forward since his early work in the 1980s? GNS theory is an informal field of study developed by Ron Edwards, which attempts to create a unified theory of how role-playing games work. This threefold classification breaks motivations into gamist, narrativist, simulationist. Gamist, focused on playing the game as a game; narrativist, focused on telling a compelling story; and simulationist, focused on representing a real and believable world. These types are often used to not only explore player motivations, but also to describe game systems and where their focus lies and what that continuum looks like. Gamist versus simulationist, or narrativist versus gamist, etc. Darren Coe, in his article Why People Play Tabletop Role-Playing Games from 2017, explains that part of the motivation stems from the benefits that tabletop RPGs provide. Tabletop RPGs benefit participants by facilitating community building, identity exploration, and cognitive flexibility through strategizing, goal setting, and problem solving, and that participation has also been found to improve creative potential by facilitating creativity, collaboration, group imagination, enriched learning, and identity exploration. He goes on to say that tabletop RPGs help with building group skills and positive psychological and social development while also improving empathy. We also have the 16 basic desires theory of motivation proposed by Stephen Reese. Dr. Reese's research identified desires that motivate humans to basically do everything that we do, including gaming. These desires are acceptance, curiosity, eating, family, honor, idealism, independence, order, physical activity, power, romance, saving, social contract, social status, tranquility, and vengeance. Many of these desires align perfectly with the motivations for why we game and the types of fun we want out of a particular session. Just like all systems of categorization, taxonomies have their place as useful tools when you're using them to understand the needs of your players or your own needs as a player. But when they're used to stereotype or pigeonhole individuals, it can be more harmful than useful. I believe in open communication between DMs and players, and if something isn't fun or interesting, or there are things that players would like to see more or less of, then that should be part of the ongoing conversation. I also feel that for new players, it might be useful to discover what you enjoy and understand why they enjoy it, as they may not have ever examined why they like to play their favorite games and what they would like to get out of them. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments below about player types and theories of motivation. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching RPG PhD. Until next time.